Well, Professor Femi Odekunle is still with us in the studio. He's a criminologist and also a member of the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption. Now, Prof, just before we went on that break, I was asking you, do you think that members of PACAC might resign, perhaps, as the soul of this scandals that are getting way too many in the light of all that has been happening and the action or lack of it thereof that has not been taking place in the face of it?
On that issue, I cannot speak for PACAC, but I will say, from what I know of my fellow members, if the, let me use Nigerian language, it comes to become, and this kind of saga is becoming a matter of routine, I'm sure they will seek audience and lay this kind of issue before the presidency. That's all I will say. But
on this, in light of all that has been happening, do you see PACAC seeking audience to lay their complaints on what has been happening so far?
Definitely. And the fact that PACAC as a group maybe has not met the president on this recent saga does not mean that there are no direct contacts. It is possible. I've not talked to the chairman for 1 or 2 days, but the chairman could have talked to the presidency in the last 24 hours, and I will not be aware of that. But I'm assuring you for the umpteenth time, all members of PACAC are concerned that this matter should be handled promptly and certainly to the knowledge of the public. And so that, you know, let me say this. A lot of people are worried. I've told you before, I'm not a member of any party, whether APC or PDP or whatever. I'm a Nigerian and I'm concerned about Nigeria. So people are worried about 2019 because of this kind of saga. I'm not worried about APC or 2019. I'm worried that the legacy, that this, for example, we are giving joy to the enemies of the fight against corruption, the looters. When a looter like Mina is now a whistleblower, if he's been a looter, he's not a whistleblower for whatever reason. If he's in the interest of the country, yeah, I will embrace it, but of course he will still get his punishment.
Professor, alleged looter. Allegations have been made against him. They've not been proven in any court of law. He claims that he's gone to court to vacate a number of judgments, and he succeeded.
I'm not a lawyer, and I don't believe in technicalities. I say, as far as I'm concerned, as a socially conscious Nigerian, I consider him a looter turned whistleblower, possibly. So I say possibly. So in that case, if you have people who are other looters and are in the wings, they will be very happy as to what is happening. That's the damage that is being done.
Considering how much...
Then the matter of legacy, it's affecting the legacy. It will affect the legacy. If it's not properly cleaned up, it will affect the legacy of the Buhari administration.
We had the president's wife say that, I mean, some time ago. I think it elicited the question or the response of she belongs in the other room. But then there's also the question of what is currently happening with this, you know, Mr. Maina saying that he's seeking audience with the president, that he can help the president recover 3 trillion naira. Do you think he should be granted audience on that basis?
I do not think so. I will tell you why I do not think so. You see, every person who is accused connected the president. We are about 200 million people. Assuming that only 1% of us are criminals or looters, you know the number. And everyone says, just let me see the president so I can tell him what has happened. No, he should be subjected to the normal processes of investigation and prosecution. And when he gets to court, he can divulge all he wants to divulge. He could seek for security protection. That is possible. But to say that one of his conditions is that be allowed to meet the president because he could locate trillions, that is not it. I told you before, government can hand it over with specific directives to this agency, and the alternative, get a task force.
What about those he claims? You know, he tells Mr. President, be careful of those around you. They're not saints.
Today is not the first time people have been telling the president to be careful of those around him. I will not say whether I'm of that view or not publicly, but those who are saying, even including the wife of the president, had mentioned about people around the president. But that would not be an excuse. You know why? During Jonathan, one of the criticisms people had was that it wasn't Jonathan, it was people around him. It doesn't make any difference. People around him were not elected. It's the president who was elected, and the president must take responsibility. The buck stops at his table. So I don't want to talk about people around the president. I'm not unaware of that situation. But the person we elected, the person in whom we have faith, the person in whom we are emotional about, should be the one that should be concerned about, and is the one that should get the act together on this kind of saga.
Prof, the issue of everyone asking, or those who have issues asking for the president, does it not portend or paint a picture of no institution? What if the president does not return in 2019? Then another president comes in. The institution to fight corruption seems not to be, or the agencies that are there don't look like they are strengthened. We now go back again. Is that going around the whole circle or starting all over again? How do we get to that point where the fight against corruption is entrenched or institutionalized, if that's the word you would like to use?
Neta, it's a combination of both. This argument, chicken and egg, strong institution, strong individuals. In my own situation, that is the situation of a developing country like Nigeria, I feel we need strong individuals to enable to put in place strong institutions. And a good example I always give is the example of Rwanda, a country that was decimated not only with corruption, but with violence, ethnic tension, genocide. But Kagame came from the bush, became president, and through a democratic process, but the force of his personality and his vision is turned the country around, building those institutions. Now, a lot of us that were dying for the Buhari ascendancy, we had the opinion that the strength of his character will now enable the institutions to function. Because from what we could see, he's a kind of leader who will appoint people into offices and expect them to what? To perform and do their work. Now, if we have a strong leader with his vision of the direction we should go, whether in terms of economy or security, but in this case, in terms of corruption, we believe it will affect those anti-corruption agencies. Now, I will tell you, that is going on. And this is important because he raised that question. This is important. That actually is the core of the work of Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption. I just told you, the rapport we're having with judiciary that was not there before. We relate on documents, we do interactions, and things they may not appreciate before or that they misunderstood before in terms of animosity, they are now appreciating that we have the same goals. For example, they like justice. We like justice, particularly for high-profile cases. Now, to what extent do technicalities damage this achievement of justice? They are appreciating it through dialogue. Over time, it will radiate down. I wish it would be some of this interaction, and you hear what the judges contribute. So over time, that institutionalization will come up. We are doing the same thing with, say, EFCC. We are doing the same thing with prosecutors.
Prof, are you doing the same thing? Are you doing the same thing? I'll take you back again. Are you doing the same thing with the civil service? I'll give you an example. There are different levels in the civil service that, in all of this may not matter, for instance, all of them seem to be involved in one way or the other. Some in ignorance, some whether by commission or omission. We have the Civil Service Commission. We have the Office of the Head of Service. And we have the ministries, Ministry of Interior and all of that. But in the midst of all of that, there is also the Senior Staff Committee. There are letters here that point to the fact that...
Yeah, I saw your pile of documents.
Okay. One letter came from the Office of the Attorney General to the Federal Civil Service Commission. From the Federal Civil Service Commission, it went to the Office of the Head of Service, the Office of the Head of Service was copied in that letter. But in the midst of all of that, there's also a Senior Staff Committee that also sat, a panel set up to probe the Mainagate issue from 2013. In all of these things, there are structures in the civil service. There are laws guiding the civil service. So is PACAC also having this kind of interaction with the civil service? Because the civil service looks convoluted, looks like it needs to be whittled down, or looks like some things need to be taken out, or windows need to be opened so that light can flood the civil service. Are you meeting with them? Are you interacting with them? Not just the judiciary.
Okay. No, I was just using the judiciary as a sample. Now, we have had 1 or 2 interactions with the civil service. But what you should realize is that we came into being just about 2 years ago. We are not a 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. committee, okay? We are like a think tank. Do you know how many agencies are in the country? Okay, you have the customs, you have the security agencies, you have the police. Initial interaction with them, yes. But in terms of focusing, we cannot focus on all of them at the same time within the period of 1.5 years or 2 years we have been in existence. But the one that seems to concern the population directly, urgently, has to do with the prosecution, the judiciary, handling particularly high-profile cases that create chagrin in the population. That how do I have people who are in the Senate making laws for me and they have cases 5, 10 years? How do I have civil servants, former ministers, going around in their luxury cars and living in their luxury mansions, yet they had these cases in court? How do we get such cases to be dealt with expeditiously? Now, we can't do that because it's not a matter. We are not in the traditional system where we can use Shango or Ogun to deal with the matter. We are not in a military dictatorship whereby you can just pick somebody from the house and put them in jail. You must go through the court system. At least, I have my objection against the archaic, colonially inherited criminal justice system, but that's what we have, and that's what's supported by the Constitution. And to that extent, we are focusing on that aspect. That doesn't mean we are not doing other things. What about our work concerning the recovery of loots, asset management? We were the one who brought the matter of the OPA 245 to life.
We will have to continue from there when we come back from Lagos.